There will be a bittersweet end to this school year this year in the Port Huron Area School District, as longtime superintendent and district employee Ronald Wollen will be retiring at the end of the year. So this week on Dateline Schools, have the chance to sit down and talk to Mr. Wollen and just kind of reflect back on his 41 years here in the Port Huron Area School District. And
It's been a great run. It's been a great career for me, and it's starting to set in that, I'm at the end of June 30th, I will no longer be here. And there's a lot of mixed emotions and great people to work with, and it's just, there's some adjustments going on.
has your entire 41-year career been here with Port Huron Schools?
Yes, in fact, I started out in 1973, and I was at Washington Intermediate School as an art teacher, and truly enjoyed that. And I was there for 7 years, and what took place back then, they closed buildings, and I had an opportunity to either go to Central to teach reading, because I had my master's in reading, or go to the alternative program, ENVY. And I said at that time I wanted to really work with kids that for whatever reason they couldn't function in the traditional kind of classroom setting. And I was there for 7 years, and then had an opportunity to move to Woodrow Wilson as the assistant principal there. And that's when there was 800 kids at Woodrow Wilson, and it was very, very exciting. And then another opportunity moved me to Central as the assistant, and I was there for 15 months. And then Larry Moeller, the principal or the superintendent at that time, transferred me to Port Huron High. And I was the assistant principal at Port Huron High for 6 years, and truly just had a great time there. And then I had an opportunity to move to Chippewa Middle School and follow the legendary, Andy Pocadillo. And I was there for 3 years, and then another opening happened at Port Huron High, and I replaced Dr. Crosby, and I was there for 8 years. And it was a great time that I had during my career at Port Huron High. So then, one time during the summertime, I was with a big red marching machine, and Jeff Stout, the board president, said, kind of motioned me over and said, "Ron, we'd like to talk to you about coming down to central office just for the summer," because at that time they didn't have a superintendent and the assistant left. And I said, "Well, for the summer that'd be fine." One thing led to another, and I became the assistant superintendent for 3 years. And then when Tom Shorkey retired, the board appointed me as superintendent. And I've been in this position going on 4 years.
Is there any one position that kind of stands out more than another for you?
Well, you know what? They've all been great in different, as you look at them differently. But the one that I truly enjoyed being the principal at Port Huron High. I mean, there is nothing like being the principal in a small community, a Class A high school. And Port Huron High has that pride, tradition, and excellence that so many schools try to have. And really, when you look at historically, it goes all the way back to 1869. And we were one of the 5 oldest schools with the continuous North Central accreditation in the state. And it was just really to watch the students at the high school level was very, very rewarding to me.
And my guess is not only with all the kids, but you had some of the parents of the kids and so on down the line.
And Terry, I had a unique situation there, because when I was principal at Chippewa for 3 years, then I was transferred to Port Huron High as the principal for 8 years there. I had some of those kids for 7 years. I watched them as a 6th grader and develop intellectually, emotionally, and socially, and from 6th grade to a senior and graduate. And it was a pretty special time to have that experience with so many kids I knew.
I imagine most people in education don't really get that kind of an opportunity, do they?
No, because it was just it was by luck. I mean, just how I was kind of promoted from one building to another. But to be in a position to really watch kids develop, it was very, very rewarding to me.
So you think back when you started in education 40-some years ago and the expectations you had as a young student coming out of college and beginning that first job, those expectations been met or have they been exceeded?
You know what? I tell you, I think they've been met, because my expectation when I first started out in 1973 as an art teacher at Washington Intermediate School, I just wanted to be a good teacher. I truly enjoyed what I did and working with students. And people told me a long time ago, if you work hard and you really focus on what you're there for, things kind of just work out. And they did, because I will, in terms of what I was focused on, is to be a good teacher and connecting with the kids, because it's not about the adults, it's about the students. And that relationship was very, very important to me. So I guess I just kind of evolved, because I wasn't necessarily looking what was around the corner. I was just focused on the present.
Now, as you look back over the 41 years of your career, I know there's a lot of highlights. Any one or two things that really stand out for you?
You know what? When I look at the students, watching them to develop, intellectually, emotionally, socially, and when I had the opportunity to be at the elementary level and the middle school level and the high school level, really having that perspective was pretty unique. And then, absolutely, when we'd have graduations, and when those students would come across to receive their diploma, and really looking in the eyes of the students and knowing that some of those students, the hard work to get to that point, and students, just their whole life is ahead of them. It's very special. And to this day, when I start to hear the graduation, starting the song and everything else, it kind of chokes you up because it's a momentous step forward for these kids.
And I imagine this year will be an extra special one for you.
Yes, it is. It'll be my last, and at least standing at the podium, because I'm not going to disconnect from school. This is something that's in my blood, and but I don't have to necessarily worry about organizing everything. I can sit back and relax.
Ron, I imagine after 41 years, you've kind of probably seen just about anything you can see in education, but what are some of the biggest changes that you've experienced over these years?
Terry, you're absolutely right. After 41 years, when we first started out, there was that open room concept and flip classes, magnet classes, and now you're starting to see online classes. But some of these, concepts were in place back in 1973. So there's been a change. But what I think when I'm really looking at now, there's never been more accountability for student achievement than now. And when you look at really putting interventions in place to really assess where the kids are and making sure that all students are successful. So I think that's probably paramount, focused on student achievement and the accountability on everyone, right from the superintendent down.
I know you're in the middle of a lot of different projects trying to wrap them up and things, but as you reflect back, what do you see the biggest challenges they're going to be facing for your successor when the Board of Education names somebody to replace you?
Well, it's going to continue. We're in a position that we have a fighting chance. We have a budget that we're going to be closing the books this June in the black. We have a 2-year budget that's out there, and about close to 8% in fund equity. With that said, we're being funded. We're just not getting enough money from the state, and the finances are going to continue to be a focus. And then we continue to look at improving student achievement, putting interventions in place. As you know, we have this visionary team that just completed their work, and we need to keep that momentum going because we're moving in the right direction, and we need to continue to focus on student achievement and good communications with our board of education. I have a good board, and if I could say anything to the new superintendent, keep good open communications with the board and the business people out there. And when you look at Bruce Brown and Randy Myers and Denise Brooks and the mayor, keep good connections and relationships with the business people out there.
And it really does take a whole community to really educate our kids, doesn't it?
It sure does. And when you think about the community, we have great people in this community that really are focused on bringing this community back. And what's more important in the heart of a city is a school district.
And Ron, what do you hope that the people of Port Huron will remember about Ron Wollen as you leave your formal position as superintendent and employee of the school district?
Well, I certainly hope it's going to be positive, but what's very important to me, that making a difference with students, because it's certainly not about the adults. And as I've said this many times, our students go through school one time. They're there for one time as a first grader or a middle school student or a high school student, and we have careers. And so I'd like to see people think of me as certainly a child advocate, and always listening to the student and making a difference, because it's the small things that not only all the test scores and everything else, but my experience being in the buildings, in the hallways, and making a difference for a student that might be having a hard day. And as adults, we do make a difference in the direction sometimes students go, and all students can be successful, and to never give up on a child.
What are your plans to do when you retire? 41 years doing a job that you've been doing and the demands that it has, big changes.
Well, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take a lawn chair, and this is going to be the first day of school. I'm going to take a lawn chair and go down to the end of my driveway, and I'm going to have a cup of coffee. I'm just going to sit there, and as the school buses go by, I'm just going to wave to the school buses. But in terms of, there's so many things that I want to get involved in, but it'll be on a volunteer basis. And it's still going to be very focused with this school district because I've grown up around, Port Huron my entire life, and this district means a lot to me. So I'm going to be, kind of in the background, but very supportive of Port Huron Area School District.
As we wrap up our week, by the time school starts in September, there'll be somebody different sitting in this chair. What advice would you give, or what advice you're going to leave for that person filling your shoes?
Well, whoever that may be, certainly you come in and you do a lot of listening first, but relationships and have that, compassion and that drive, and just you truly want to make a difference in the lives of the students in the Port Huron Area School District. And pretty much when people get into these positions, they're pretty much prepared. But reaching out and helping people and listening and collaboratively working together, because there's a lot of great things happening in this city, and everybody is truly, for the first time, we're not working, I see, in silos. We're working together as one. And I tell you, if that all comes together, this district's going to continue to move ahead.
Well, congratulations. We wish you all the best.
Thank you very much, Terry.
For Dateline Schools, I'm Terry Harrington. Dateline Schools is a production of St. Clair County RESA.